Hey everyone, welcome back to my garden. And as always, I got a nice little update for you. If you look over here, I recently purchased these new LED lights right here. And I just wanted to test them out for a couple days before posting a little video about it. And I think it's doing quite well. The plants seem to be really loving it. I mean, just take a look at the squash plant. I can't believe the amount of change that it's had. I've actually pollinated basically the female flower right there underneath a little bit earlier this morning, and you could already see that it's beginning to actually yellow a tiny bit at the base. And this squash plant did not have nearly anywhere near this amount of growth in such a short amount of, like such a short span. I cannot believe just how fast this plant has been growing. And it really made a big difference, I think, once I purchased these new lights and started using this new light system. Mainly because it has to do with the light spectrum that it has. It's extremely good in red as well as blue levels of light. So it really works beneficial for flowering stage as well as the growth of the overall growth of the plant, I think. I mean, now look at the cucumber plant. This entire thing is basically all new right here. And this is just in what, 2 days, I think? And you could already see on the cucumber, this is going to be my second time attempting to grow cucumber. The first one, I had to call it quits early because I didn't realize it would be such a tall plant. And now that we're a little bit more equipped for the situation at hand, I think this time we're gonna have a very good harvest around. And I'm actually gonna be cloning this plant, taking some suckers and turning one cucumber plant into several, as well as this should be a all-female flower plant, so pollination shouldn't be much of a concern at all. And I actually think that there's little flowers forming. That's what I wanted to mention actually when I zoomed in. Right there at the base between each node on the stem. So I think that's a really nice thing that's happening. And look at the little pepper plant right here. It still continues to develop. I've had a couple of the blossoms that fell off. I'm not sure what it had to do with. I noticed the ones that did fall off were the ones that were really squished in together between like the peppers or between the flowers, very tight. So now that you see it's a little bit more opened up and free, there's a bunch of peppers all over the place. New ones that I pollinated, I believe, yesterday, and those are doing quite well. And the peppers are continuing to grow and get nice and big. And I think the very bottom of this one, the very first one that started growing right in the middle, is starting to put on a little bit hint of coloring on the bottom. It's hard to see which color it is at the moment because of these bright lights. Oh, and let me mention actually, the reason why I'm able to sit under these lights and record and talk like everything is normal is because of actually, I got in the mail yesterday these horticulture sunglasses, which are absolutely essential for anyone who's growing indoors. I think maybe not necessarily that exact one that I'm using. I think just as long as it's designed to protect your eyes and it's a certified brand one, something that's, legitimate, not something that's just like, not to be biased against, but maybe not something that just came from China, because that's probably the fake version of it and might not necessarily be the same product. So just do your research before purchasing, and I'll post a link about which ones I bought. I forget the name of them, but they work really amazing. When you put them on, everything around you gives it basically like a really deep green tint. It's really quite cool. I've never noticed this color before. But when you're in your greenhouse and you're looking at your plants, all your plants, you're actually seeing close to true colors. So when I'm looking at these plants, you guys are seeing basically like a pinkish hue to everything. I'm seeing green. That's all I see. I see green, I see yellow, I see all the true colors that I need to inside my greenhouse right now. And I'm able to be underneath the light and not be affected. Some of you may recall I mentioned earlier that basically when I was sitting under the lights, it gave me a tiny bit of a headache when I didn't have these glasses on. And it's basically already 5 minutes of recording with me sitting almost directly under the light. And I feel pretty good. I don't think anything's bothering me, so protect your eyes, people. It'll make a big difference. And I just wanted to show you a quick update about what's going on. And before we go, I actually got a new item. If you zoom in inside basically this little reservoir, you can see a little air pump. Now normally I grow everything Kratky style, which this still is technically Kratky style, but being that I incorporated an air pump into it, I turned this Kratky into a deep water culture basically. And I run the air pump the same time as I do my lights. So when my lights go on, my air pump goes on. And the way it's powered, it's actually a solar powered air pump that I have being generated, getting power from my T5s, as well as possibly the LEDs. It's basically right in between here. So I'm not sure which one it's generating more power from, but it's collecting all the power it needs, I think, to continue to power this air pump. And the neat thing about this one that I really like is the air pump is pretty quiet while it's running right now. To be honest, the lights, the fan in the lights is louder than the air pump. So if you were worried too much about the noise, which is why I personally don't enjoy using air pumps, I really dislike that buzzing noise, this one has little to no noise at all. And I'll put a link in the description for which one I'm using in case anybody's interested. And I think it's a really great product. It was really cheap. I think it was under $20, and it's very small. And the nice thing about it is the LED panel is adjustable, so you could lift it and raise it based on the height that you need to maximize the amount of light that it captures, to turn that into power and free electricity for you to run your air pump. So being that it's free and it's not costing me anything more besides the initial cost, which would clearly pay for itself very quickly in the future, I can't complain. I think it's nice to have, and I'll keep you updated with the air pump and show you the progress of how it's working. But before we go, if I just show you quickly the roots, you could see that the roots are looking happy and spreading out and getting nice and big. And let me show you the cucumber. Cucumber is also looking very happy. And yeah, everything is doing great. So as always, if you liked the episode or have any questions, leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer. And hit the thumbs up and subscribe, everyone. Thanks for watching.